to let you guys know where God brought me from. I'm 57 well, I'll be 57 in 2 weeks. February 16th is my birthday. I'm the 7th child of 8 out of 8. And this is my new beginning. God brought me from a place of abuse, molestations, and drugs. My life was like a spiraling out of control, and it started when my father committed suicide. And I was 14 at the time, and when these things happen, it's like when he took his life, he killed himself, but before then, he killed my sister, whom I was close to, and he killed 2 cousins all in one day. And at that time of my life, it was like everything that I loved so dear and everything that was so close to my heart and everything that ever understood who I am as a human being and as a person was no longer there. And it caused me to, look for some type of relief in all the wrong places. And for years, I felt like I was sitting underwater, like my life. I jumped in a pool of water and that's where I stayed, because I just went through like the motions of life, went through the motions in relationships, went through the motions, and no matter what I did, I just couldn't feel. And the reason I couldn't feel is because I was using drugs to try to get me through the pain that I was carrying, the pain of the loss, pain of guilt, the pain of feeling alone. I was just, I was messed up. So I started out with pills, and then the pills went to syrup, and then the syrup went from more pills, and then the more pills turned into like cocaine and heroin. I used to be an intravenous user, and I got high for years from the time I was 14 until I was 33. Is where all of my drug addictions and all my drug use, all the in between, all of the, attempts myself, suicide. I tried to take my own life because I didn't want to be here anymore, because I felt like I was by myself. I didn't feel like I was loved by my mother. And I just felt like, what was the use? What was my purpose? And I remember one day I was sitting in my bathroom, and I was ready to take myself from here. And I had a straight razor, and I sat on the toilet seat, and I just began to cry. And I said, why am I even here? And at that time, I had my 3 kids, and I started to slip my wrist. And before I can get the razor to my vein, I heard God say, you have purpose. I have purpose for you. So I looked around. I thought then that I was losing my mind, because prior to that I did have actually 3 nervous breakdowns. So I thought I was, having a breakdown again because of the voice that I heard. But God said he had purpose for me. My new beginning. I'm here to tell you that from the time that attempt, and then after that, I went through so much more after that. But one day I got tired, and I started crying out. My soul started crying out and asking God to help me, because I didn't know how to help myself anymore. And what God did for me was allow me to have a severe asthma attack, which led me on a hospital bed for 7 days. And in those 7 days, I made up my mind. See, God changed this. It was the mindset that he changed and dealt with. Everything that we do in life, it always starts here in the battlefield. And if you get to a place in your life where you down, or where you feel like you no longer want to be here, that's like the enemy messing with the mind. But God stepped in, and God started healing my emotions. He started healing my mind. He started healing my heart. He started taking things from me. And when I laid in the hospital for those 7 days, my new beginning started, I had made up my mind that this is not what God put me on this earth for, that there is a purpose for me. And it was not for me to abuse my body. It was not for me to use drugs. It was not for me to be in abusive relationships. It was not for me to be in none of those things. It was for me to take care of my temple, love who I am, and have the esteem within myself to know that I am somebody and that I do have purpose. And when I came to that place in my life in the hospital, when I left that hospital on the 7th day, 3 days after that, I found myself in God's house. And that's where all of my beginning, my newness started. So I know I can't tell it all, but I can say this, that I'm so glad that I encountered and went through the things that I went through. Because had I not gone through what I went through, I would not be present or be here today telling you about it. I am now an ordained evangelist. I graduated from school. I've been to school for nursing. I've been to school for biblical learning in college. And my goal is to go further with biblical education, to learn more that I can learn, so that I can teach others what it means to truly come to a place of your new beginning and being free from something. So I shared it with you guys today, and I hope what I said can help somebody out there that may hear this, that God is so awesome and that God is so good, that if you get into a place of prayer and if you get into a place of relationship with God, it'll make all the difference in the world.